it is going to be very funny because usually what we do in the Growth Hacking Culture Swiss Made edition is that we talk about actionable design, inspiring stories, but today it is something very special. Pierre-Edouard Sottas, my guest today, is someone who has been that I have met maybe in the middle of the 90s, and something specifically that I remember that has been bugging me every year is this small discussion that defined the person that he is today for me. Is the kind of person that back in the days he was asking, is there a way to understand the dreams that people have explained with quantum physics? That were the days, in fact, that I realized that I will never ever meet a person like him that has such a lateral thinking way of looking at the world.
No, but hang on a second, Ivan, just to understand, were you smoking something when you were having these discussions?
I cannot confirm or deny any of these allegations. Well, listen, that's what defines Pierre-Edouard for me. But maybe, Michel, you haven't met him before. You want to know a little bit more about him.
I would love to know about him because, I mean, the one thing that like anybody would do, I mean, I went to LinkedIn and I said, oh, look at what this guy has. I mean, he's an authority. I mean, I'm almost ashamed and humiliated and humbled by the fact by so many things that he has done. And the acronym that actually caught my attention was this WADA thing. Tell me all about it.
Okay, so we are talking about quantum physics. We're talking about World Anti-Doping Agency, completely unrelated. But it's okay, that's part of my life.
But they're part of your life, and that makes you interesting. And perhaps, introduce yourself to our audience. I mean, who is Pierre-Edouard? I mean, the WADA guy, the longevity guy. I mean, by the way, to the audience, we need to explain that he is as old as we are, and yet he looks much better than we do. So this longevity thing needs to be working.
Okay, so yeah, happy to actually to introduce myself. Actually, yes, it was more than 30 years ago that we're doing quantum physics at the EPFL. But at the same time, I was crazy enough actually to also switch to biology, to molecular biology at the University of Lausanne. So when you actually or my colleagues in physics were having some good time, and actually I was still studying biology at the same time, and that's what actually a bit summarized my life. That's a bit I would say doing too many things at the same time. And then did a PhD in AI. At that time AI was nothing. But every person knows about AI. It's a big impact in our daily life. But I would say the golden age of AI, actually, from purely scientific aspects, was really end of the 90s, beginning of the 2000s, where the big algorithm, that deep neural networks, LSTM, were developed, and I was part of that group. But then rapidly, and I will come to this WADA thing, I spent all my life actually to help people to live healthier, better, longer. That summarizes who I am, and that's what I did these last 30 years. And I developed at the beginning of the 2000s what is called the biological passport. And the biological passport is that actually you can capture data on you, any means. It can be blood tests, can be wearables, whatever, but you capture data on you, biological data. And then from that data, you try to give insights, you try to do things with it. And one of the first applications has been of clinical trials, where I was working with a big company, where we actually were monitoring patients under phase 1, phase 2, phase 3 clinical trials, and really monitoring it over time with these techniques, collecting data on them, and then how we can actually improve the signal to find signal of safety or efficacy of drugs. That's one thing. But then I came back to Switzerland at that time, to Lausanne. Lausanne is Olympic capital. There is the IOC and there is the World Anti-Doping Agency. And I did a pitch on what is a biological passport, how you can monitor people over time. And there was a huge demand in the field of sport to do that. At that time, there was a huge pressure on doping in sports. We are talking about the middle of 2000s. There's a lot of EPO, blood transfusions, or steroids in place. And the tests were not that, I would say, sensitive. And let's say, oh, let's change the paradigm. Let's actually measure your body and look at the impact of this drug on your body. So rather than actually to measure EPO itself, which is actually a very small window of detection, let's say, oh, but if you take EPO, if it is an effect, let's detect the effect. And then you use what is called Bayesian inference, what I did actually during my PhD, actually to infer or say, oh, actually, can we prove with strong evidence that the person doped? And that's called biological passport became the athlete biological passport. And then finally, I took the lead actually of the group who was in charge of the biological passport at the World Anti-Doping Agency. But that was in the 2000s here. I did that a few years. But rapidly, I wanted to do a bit more because I was pretty lucky because we did quite a lot, developed quite a lot. There was quite some money available. It was good. But all this knowledge about how to monitor people, at the end, it was not only about doping, it's really about helping people, about prevention, about early diagnosis of diseases, things like this. So I founded my first company back in 2009. It was called Biokaizen. It received the prize as the most, I would say, ambitious biotech here in Switzerland. And now, okay, there's a second one, and now there's the third one, and my last one is called xLongevity, and here we are.
Well, thank you very much for actually honestly telling about all your accomplishments. I mean, I'm sure Yannick Sinner likes you less than, but anyway, let's not go into tennis and the doping of that particular sport that I enjoy. But let's talk about xLongevity. I mean, what is it?
Okay, xLongevity is that's talking about about dreams. Yes, maybe still that's remain in me, but okay, I spent these last 30 years, let's say, to sell products, to sell solutions, to sell tests, and it's a lot of tests, nutrition tests, how you can measure actually your micronutrient in blood. That was my previous company. And I say, no, actually people are not interested in technology and are not interested in this tool. They want the benefits, they want health. So actually I started to build this company called xLongevity. Their goal is really to sell health and not to sell actually a product, a solution, the technology. They don't care about technology. And most of the time people don't understand what I'm saying here. How can you sell health? And here. And that's really the combination of multiple things, actually, a kind of holistic approach to health. And really about the paradigm, that the shift that we have now actually in the field of healthcare, really from a medicine which is actually we'll call sick care, more about reactive medicine to more prevention, to more empowering people, maybe less the doctors, but more the people. And that's part of this movement here. So xLongevity is really the goal, actually, to empower people to take control of their health. And yes, we have this word longevity, which is actually a very broad name. People don't understand much about it. Okay, what's be living longer eternally? No. It's just about actually giving healthy years where you feel happy, you feel better, actually, when you're still actually aging. Because behind, we know now, actually, and there's pretty recent data, that aging is by far, the main risk factor of diseases. When talking about, smoking, we're talking about obesity, we're talking about alcohol, sure, these have an impact. And when we quantify this, typically with the risk factor, 1 will be actually completely neutral, 1.5, 50% increase, 2 is, wow, 100% increase. That's great. That's huge. Great. That's not that great, actually, but that's huge. But you are talking about aging, the factors is 20 times, 30 times. And when you look at the curve of the prevalence or even incidence of disease according to age, even its chronological, not biological age, it's an exponential curve. And that's why actually tackling directly aging is something that is so critical, actually, if you want to give health to people. So yes, that's the vision of xLongevity. Yeah.
Pierre-Edouard, I think you are breaking kind of a lot the image of anyone that you ask, what is a Swiss? You are breaking it completely. This image, this perfect traditional way of doing things, you have broken it completely. So we are jumping from physics to biology to medtech. You didn't mention it, but I still remember that you did a jump in finance back in the days. And
I did. I play guilty.
I knew that you were ashamed about that. What I wanted to understand is, do you see that xLongevity can bring something specific to organizations, like big corporates, improve the well-being of employees? Is there any way that
Yeah.
it can help them?
Yes, sure. By the way, that's the BioKaizen, my first company. We merged with a company called Core Medica, was in the United States, and we're in the field of corporate wellness. We were providing actually wellness services to employees. So I know a little bit about that. And yes, xLongevity does also have a program for corporates, yes, corporate wellness. But I think it's a great question, because when talking about corporate wellness, what are we thinking about? Actually, do we actually have talking about health? About, okay, minimize the risk of burnout. For sure, burnout in certain countries, especially Scandinavia, is a huge issue. And clearly here it's about, maybe it's kind of relaxation, recovery, actually thing may help. And yes, that's something that we do provide as part of xLongevity here. Or is it more about performance? Oh, about performance, what it is? Giving energy to your body? Oh, what is the main limiting factor giving energy to your body? Is a molecule called NAD+. And yes, the levels of NAD+ that do decrease over time, so we can actually do something about it. You can actually take some crazy biohacker things like take a very cold bath and then actually sauna and then a cold bath. And yes, then there's an enzyme called NMPT behind that helps you actually to recover your NAD+. That's great. But then there are other things that you cannot do, and that's also, yes, you can take a precursor of NAD plus called NMN or others, and it helps you actually to give your energy back. And it's something that, yes, we do propose actually to corporate wellness, to corporate companies. Yeah.
That's excellent.
And your clients are more corporate or they are individuals?
No. Actually, that's only a small part of our business. Most of our business is called B2B4C. So we work mostly with current healthcare practitioners. That's more the people. We are in the field of reactive medicine, but we want to go to the field of prevention here. Or I would say also all the wellness industry or the wellness tourism, which is a big thing. Here in Europe, about I would say 50% or just a bit less, but for wellness is tourism. People do travel actually to get wellness services. And that's what we do. So we help clinics, centers, hospitals, medical doctors, which is our main business, medical doctors, hotels, five-star hotels, to actually propose these longevity services to the existing patients. That's what we do.
Okay, all right.
If we move back to you, Pierre-Edouard, I want to understand. So this is your third venture, in fact.
Yeah.
Now, I want to understand what is the biggest challenges that you face as a third-time entrepreneur, new venture. What is especially in the leadership part? What are the challenges that you are facing today?
Okay, I'm still a bit Swiss for that. Sorry to say, you said I'm not that Swiss. Yes, I'm Swiss, because for me it's quality, and that's what I call is operational excellence. Operational excellence. I think that even, I'm a scientist. I did a lot of studies. Apparently, know a lot of things. I don't think I know a lot of things. But okay, it's about, at the end, it's less about IP, less about technology, but it's actually just to have a good product. And it's about operational excellence. And that's actually one of the main challenges that I have, is really to ensure continuously actually the best quality of what you can offer and here. And I think that's something I learned over the last 25 years here, is that quality does matter and more than technology here. So for me, the main challenge, and what I put a lot of energy, resources, is about to reach operational excellence. Yeah.
And why do you call it a challenge? I mean, who is challenging you?
It's
The others.
It's actually our clients, because I feel so bad when you have a client who complains actually that something is not happy. I feel really bad, for that client, and I'm doing a lot actually that's not actually to stop that, to clear and to solve the problem if there's any issue here. So that's always looking not for perfection. I'm not saying that, but actually looking for improvement. Kaizen is philosophy in Japanese that I love very much. but we'll try to reach actually this operational excellence. Yes. Behind this, you have to understand that xLongevity is a global company. And since we are trying to selling health directly to people, it's not the same that you sell health in Dubai, that you sell health in Delhi, that you sell in Paris, or to do it in Geneva. It's not the same. The regulatory aspects are different. The culture is different. The people are different, and a lot of things. And this means that you need this flexibility to be adaptable to that system to reach that operational excellence. That's the challenge that I have. Yeah.
And why did you put xLongevity in Switzerland, other than being Swiss and liking the Riviera of the Lino?
Okay, that's okay. I think in Europe in Switzerland, longevity is a big thing, and I know actually I'm not talking people around me, my family, but we have this. I would say how if we want to take control of our health. Sure, we rely a lot of medical doctors. But if you look, for example, like obesity data, or I would say data in general, here in Switzerland, we are ready actually to take actions for that. We are pretty good actually to have a good lifestyle. It's maybe boring, but okay, we do sleep, okay, we do exercise, we have good food, not every time Switzerland, but coming from elsewhere, but we have this mindset here. And that's one thing. You have to talk about the end users thing, but they're also great, I would say, history of clinics, medical clinics, aesthetic clinics, and longevity clinics, what maybe anti-aging clinics. That's now actually shifting to longevity clinics. Here, and some very well known here in Switzerland. So there is it's not a hub, I would say. Even Zurich may be considered as a hub. In Swiss Romand, maybe that's only 2 or 3 clinics in this area. But otherwise, Zurich really now is going one of the hub in the field of longevity. Yeah.
I would be fascinated to understand a little bit as your company grows, how do you keep your company culture's identity? You have mentioned this culture of excellence. This is something very Swiss. When we are talking about excellence, the little details that count for the final consumer. How do you keep this culture and values intact as you grow? And especially, I'm pretty sure that you have teams of data scientists, AI guys, or whatever all over the world. So how do you do that?
Yeah, it's challenging. Yes, with teams are at several places in the world. This means, okay, you work at 5 a.m. in the morning, but that's still at 6 p.m. now. That's on the other side of the ocean. But the other ocean, that's actually the one of the east, but the one of the west, that's your team over there. Yes, it's a pretty a challenge, but it's okay if you want to be global, if you want actually really to reach the scalability, which is actually our main USP that we have. We have this scalability. So what was the question now? Actually, sorry, I lost the question.
How do you keep
sorry
your
for that.
culture and values as you grow?
Yes, okay, the values of the company say sure. I will never compromise about the vision of the company. The vision of the company is really at the end to help to people live healthier, better. That's the vision. Okay, I will never compromise of that. That's the values. Okay, since now, okay, it's very young company, really only, I think yesterday, a few days ago, we reached 20 months. So it's not even 2 years. It's a very young company, but we're already global. We have offices in Dubai. We have offices in India. We have offices in the US. We are present for sure in Switzerland, and we are growing. But there clearly something that will never compromise is about the vision of the company. And when we are a young company, sure, you have to raise money. You have actually to grow and grow in a way. And you always actually challenges. Do you go that way or that way? I always put actually, I'm lucky for that, the values of the company, of the vision actually on top. Yeah.
And do you have, I mean, the energy that you are displaying is contagious. But who actually makes all of this happen? I mean, you have your lieutenants that go from one company you founded to the next one, or how does that work?
I don't know how to answer your question, actually. It just things are ongoing, and here just to make things going. For sure, it is an impact as a person here because I spend Actually, in my life, I have only two things. I have my loved ones and I have my company. That's it. This means that, okay, socially, I'm not an example at all. I'm not actually someone who's really a balanced life. I would never actually say something about that. I'm not an example, not give any recommendation on balanced life, which is a pity, working in the field of longevity here. But that's really my focus, okay, my loved ones and my company, yeah.
Okay.
Talking about this energy, something that you don't know, Michel, is that these crazy eyes that he displays while talking about his company, he had it already when he was in a topic that he loved, he was passionate, he had it already. I still remember that, Pierre-Edouard. Now, I wanted to ask a little bit more, given the fact that you are dealing with different cultures of around the world, is it a challenge for you to motivate these teams that are dispersed, to keep them engaged for the long term and keep them aligned on the mission of the company?
Yeah, that's a challenge here, but okay, I try to tackle this challenge from the very beginning. Is that when I hire people, I really actually tell them that okay, if you want to work with me, we work as a team, and we don't work for just for a few months. We want actually the long way. We work for the long term, and they have to prove me that they trust in the values of the company. And actually, it goes pretty well, because if you tackle that from the start, actually, it is good. But we are still lucky, because as part of what we do, I will give an example. We've just finished a clinical trial in humans where we're able to decrease biological age by 7 years. It was a trial between London and here Switzerland that we finished at the end of December. Okay, that's a number. 7 years decrease of biological age. Okay, what it is. It looks great on paper, but what's actually way more interesting when discussed directly with the patients, with them, is say, I had an issue actually in my shoulder. It disappeared. That's wonderful. And there's another one, I can now actually run again. That's great. Another one, and arthritis, 60 something years old. And the overall, I would say, messages that we receive from our patients, they're feeling more energy and feeling younger. And that's clearly something why we are working actually as part of this company. And that's again a translation of our values to something into practice. It's something that I do share always with the employees and to motivate them here. Now on some points, for sure, it's not the same thing that you want to share these values with someone culturally from Europe or from the US or from the Middle East or from India or from South Asia. There are cultural differences. And there are countries where you have to motivate them differently. Sure, some it's money. They're interested in money. They want the salaries, things like this. Some I was really surprised, because all my employees, we have a ESOP program for everyone. So no, I don't want. Say, why? That means you are not ready to commit? No, it's part of the culture. Now I learned that it's part of the culture. Not interested actually of the benefit to grow, but they just want actually their paycheck at the end. But still, they are very good employees and they share the values and are really committed to the company. Yeah. Thinking about cultural differences. Yeah.
And how do you prevent mistakes when you're hiring these people? I mean, you were talking about, we discussed about the values, and if you have a feeling that they have the same values, it goes. I mean, how often are you wrong?
I've been wrong. For sure. And that I've been wrong, because again, that's what I'm telling you looks great on paper. Sometimes that's not actually run like this. Hopefully, most of the time, again, never looking for perfection. Most of it got well. But okay, this last month I had to fire a few person in the company, because again, they were not aligned with the vision, or they were not actually delivering according to what I expected. So it's actually the balance between giving motivation, but also they understand that, okay, it's a young company. We are very ambitious. You can grow with us, but we expect actually that you deliver. And I always say that actually this famous sentence now from this English author is that fail again, fight better, or try again, fight better, something like this. And I love this kind of philosophy. Yeah.
So it really is the Kaizen thing. And there's a problem. You actually go to the root of the problem, you fix it, but there is this continuous improvement and this continuous motion towards this ideal, which really is the red line, as one would say in French, of your enterprise. Very,
Yeah.
very contagious.
Yeah, it's always, again, it's also I've learned to be tolerant. I prefer by far an employee who is actually giving 100% of what he has, of his talent, than someone that's extremely talented, but does give only 50% here. And when you have someone who give a lot here, I'm very, very tolerant. And I love this kind of people in my company. Yeah.
Is there
So,
any specific leader that you admire and has been kind of your role model for the leader that you are today?
I should not say it, but Elon Musk, I admit, is someone that has a lot of inspiration from Elon Musk. Very, very controversial, actually, subject, that for sure. But
Exactly.
okay. Someone that's, I mean, I do share quite a lot of values with that person, yeah.
yeah,
Okay.
like what?
He's worried now. He's worried.
Oh la la. Okay, to say that actually then, okay, what should I say about Elon Musk? I think about the energy that he gives and also the way he treats people again. I think is what I said before, is that more about actually in line with people who try to do their best, less about people who have talent, is something also that is doing these kind of things here. And also about this ambition, this big dream, actually to do a lot of things for the good, yeah.
Mm. Well,
And
we look at
what
that part, it's okay. That part.
I bet you don't want to go to Mars, but what is your big dream?
Oh, my big dream, and I think it's be easier for me to reach that dream actually than Elon Musk to go to Mars. Here is to reverse aging in humans. As simple as that. And it's very close. It's coming very, very close. People don't know that. Everyone is talking about AI right now, the revolution, the impact it have on our life. But not a lot of people are talking about the revolution that is coming. That's okay, for the first time, we have a good knowledge, for sure not perfect, but good knowledge on how and why we age, about the three phases of aging, of life. First, we have to grow, then we have to reproduce, and then we have to die. But now we understand a lot of things about how we die. It's called the hallmarks of aging, and we can do something about it. And again, I'm one this crazy person who believes that before the end of this decade, we'll be able to reverse aging in humans. What does it mean in practice? What it means actually that is really to get younger, to become younger, and to do the other way that to get old. Last year, for the first time in mice, was not in humans, but there's been a study. There were some old mice. I not exactly the age of the mice age, but equivalent, let's say, 60, 70 years old in humans. They did some exosome therapy, really, really advanced, I would say, kind of therapies. And before they did this therapy, first you look at the mice. They were looking actually old, they had gray hair, and they were losing their hair. They were pretty fat. They were doing some labyrinth test or some grip strength test or everything you can do with mouse. And they did the treatment. And after a few weeks, actually exactly the same mice, they changed physically. Physically, they had black hair again. They had much actually more muscles, less fat. But even more importantly, functionally, actually, these mice actually be behaving like some much younger mice. They was closely, would very distinguish these mice actually to a, let's say, equivalent 30 years old mice. So it leads something about reversing aging, not slowing down aging or tackling the disease associated to aging or caused by aging, but really aging itself. And if you do that, again, I'm not talking about living internally or inclusive lifespan, but really I believe, again, because aging is the main factor of diseases, we can really give healthy life to people. Yeah.
That is crazy.
How much is it going to cost me to reverse my white hair?
Oh, for white hair, there are already some treatment that are coming. Yes, I mentioned exosomes. This
No,
one
but
actually, it's a good point because it's an economy of scale. The therapy that we use up for trial is pretty expensive, in the 10 of thousands of US dollar or Swiss franc. They are close here, and we're able to decrease biological age by 7 years here just in 3 month treatment. But they claim an economy of scale. Just the price of exosomes. Last year it was in the thousands. Now it becomes in the hundreds. So it hopefully it will start to be affordable. Yeah. But
no,
I'm not talking about actually
no,
the big things, the big therapies. We can do already really a lot actually with small things, and that got pretty cheap. Yeah, that's actually part of our USP. Yeah, yeah.
but this is astonishing. I mean, you do a treatment for 3 months and then you suddenly are acting as if you were 70 years younger. I mean, this is astonishing.
Yeah, and this is revolution that is coming, and not a lot of people are talking about. Yes, we're talking about going to Mars. We're talking about AI, but yes, okay, in the field of healthcare. Okay, I remember, again, back I was a student at the university. We're discussing about in biology. I was discussing with my mentor, my professor, Professor Dubochet, who won the Nobel Prize. It was again, okay, about can genetic cure cancer? What's that? Genetic cure cancer? No, it does not make sense. But a lot of us are saying, let's try to cure cancer with genetics. No. Yeah, it's at least something, at least at that time. Now I'm not that sure. It was something impossible here because, yes, natural selection has been in place. And then actually we've been selected to be how we are. And this, the how much genetics explain of our disease is pretty small. It's 15% max here. Epigenetics is way more influenced by our environment. And then back in the 2000s, there were actually personalized medicine. Oh, look great on paper. Right drug for the right patients. Oh, I can tell the big pharmacies were happy. One Swiss pharmacy was very happy with it. Actually, they make billions in one drug here, but more the exception, actually. In the 2000s, 2010, 2020, the prevalence of chronic diseases, about cardiovascular disease, about Alzheimer, about diabetes, still increased worldwide. But the revolution is this decade. And the numbers, the projection are a bit crazy. Here we're talking about even the business-wise, the market of healthcare is increasing by 6 trillion in 7 years. It will become the largest market by 2028. It will surpass the market of energy. At the same time, the market of wellness will increase by 5 trillion. And the two are merging because as soon as you go to prevention, as soon as you go to better diagnostics, as soon as you go to empower actually the end users, the patients, there's not a big difference actually between wellness and healthcare.
Of course not.
And here. And that's the beauty that what's happening this decade now. Yeah.
So how does one become a shareholder in your company?
Okay. Still no IPO. Sorry for that. Even there are some discussions. We have a SPAC where we can merge and things like this these days, and that can rapidly become an IPO, but not yet. Okay, no, still we are a very young company. Actually, yes, we are raising money these days. Here's just a Series A, first round.
You're a
As part of
Series
the
A.
company. Yeah, Series A level. Yeah.
So
We are
you
starting
have
now,
still
by
a
the way.
chance, Michel.
I'm sorry?
You have still a chance to invest.
Well, I mean, I'm going to be late, so I'm going to be at the end of the bandwagon, but it still seems to be a fairly interesting bandwagon. I mean, it's a very exciting story that you're telling because you are telling it by its merits as opposed to, how much money you're going to make. I still, my takeaway is 3 months treatment, 7 years younger. Unbelievable.
Yeah. It's coming. And it's only this year. My plan, okay, it's cost a lot of money, is to do a larger clinical trial. By the way, we expect to have patients in Switzerland. So the criteria is more than 50,
Where
55
do I
years
sign
old.
up?
You know, that's the beauty work in this field. It's pretty easy to find volunteers.
Yes, I can assume so, yes.
Pierre-Edouard, so despite the fact that xLongevity is it has been recognized as one of the most promising companies in Europe, you are not alone. And I
No.
wanted to understand how your company is different versus the others who are competing in the same area, and what is the unique impact that you want to bring to the world?
Yes, again, that's what make us special, the famous USP word, is that there are two things. First, I already alluded to that when we started this discussion, is about this holistic approach. I don't want to sell, products. I don't want to sell a technology. It's not a blood test, it's not a drug, it's not a therapy. No, I want to sell health. But how to do that? But you have to combine everything. But when you have to combine everything, okay, you have the challenge of operational excellence. And things, because you're in question, you have to do everything, but you cannot be the best in everything. And here, but then you have actually all these pieces of the puzzle that have to fit, so that at the end, when you're embarked in this journey, okay, you can do therapies, you can actually your test, you can have medical doctors, we have a telemedicine platform, we have supplements, but the supplements, that's not the traditional one that correct the deficiency of micronutrients, but really the one targeting aging itself. So we have 6 components that we have defined that we put together and give this holistic approach to longevity. That's the first thing. But here we're not the only one. There are clearly some who actually locally, I would say, if you go to a clinic in Zurich, there's a one here, that you can have this kind of services. You can have close to everything I say here. The second thing, what they don't have, is the scalability. The scalability here is that means what we do, actually, we are not a kind of company that actually build one clinic after each other. There's a famous chain of clinics here in Swiss Romande that's now is building clinics actually globally. Us, we are more the xLongevity inside, like the Intel inside back in the 2000s, is that we do actually empower the current, I would say, healthcare practitioners, again, clinics, centers, wellness centers, doctors, to sell longevity to their patients. That's what we do. And this means that the scalability that we have is huge here, because we are talking about the number of centers, clinics, hotels, like this. We are talking about close to 1 million partners. Then we can have a huge scalability. And that's everything. And my team hate me for that, by the way. I said, oh, don't forget the keyword, scalability. Everything you do, actually, if you do for one, no. You have to think about doing not for 10, not for 100, but directly to scale. And that's the thing that we have implemented. That's the 2 main assets that we have here.
How do we reach you out? I mean, after this conversation where I have been personally impressed because there is a lot of the things that you have mentioned on the topic that I didn't know. And now has become a little bit more appealing, more interesting for me to understand the holistic approach that you want to bring to humans. And I guess that this is one of the major concerns of our generation is how to live, but not more years, but quality years. That's what we dream of. Not the old guy who can just move around and be 90 or 100. No, that's not the dream. How can people reach you out to understand more what your company can do for them? Or maybe curiosity, how the hell did you do it, man?
Okay, so just a comment here. You're right. It's more about quality. By the way, what we see here is more about adding life to years than years to life. And here is that really about, okay, live things. And here, and I do personally believe if you add actually life to years, you will get actually more years. But that's actually the kind of the nice thing at the end. Okay, so. Then, okay, now if we're talking about Switzerland, here we are launching our first clinic run by us in Vevey in 1 month, so very soon. And yes, I can already disclose that we are coming to Geneva as well here. And then we have some expansion actually all over Switzerland actually by the end of the year for Swiss people. Yeah.
Yeah.
Otherwise, yes, we're already actually present in India, in UAE, and growing in Germany and in France. Yeah.
Wonderful. Congratulations, Pierre-Edouard. I mean, you are 3 months, 7 years. That's the only thing I understood from this whole thing. And I could drive to Vevey, and it's like for 3 months, and then I'm 7 years younger. I mean,
Michel, we have
yes,
to
okay, but
together.
just a comment here. Just please realize actually how actually people are living now. Okay, let's talk about a 9 to 5 job. They spend 8-9 hours per day for their wealth. You know, we just have to spend maximum, truly maximum, actually 1 hour per day for your health. And that's actually that people really go put so much energy for their wealth, maybe 1 hour. Personally, I do less than 1 hour a day. And you know, my biological age, not these days, a lot of stress, traveling too much, that for sure. But in September 2023, not that far, actually my biological age was 31. I was really feeling at my top. I can tell you, I was feeling extraordinary, much less these days, much less energy and here. But that's just something that's okay, you can do, everyone can do. It's just to give the tools, and it's not that difficult. There's some simple things that we can do. You don't see actually my legs now, but actually I'm pushing my legs like this. It's a muscle called the soleus that is burning actually glucose. It's so simple. And actually when you are sitting, just burn glucose and improve your insulin sensitivity. It's just these simple tricks. And the people say, I cannot sleep well these days. There are so many easy things to do. The main factor, the main biohack you may have actually to sleep is actually to watch the sun in the morning. The sun. When the sun actually is less than 25 degrees, you just watch them with your eyes. It's align your circadian rhythm. You just walk a bit during the day. I can tell you it maximizes your chance to sleep. Not the only thing, but it's a great biohack. That's many small things that we can do like this. And that's all these kind of recommendation that we actually transmit actually as part to our people, these small things. Now, for sure, we implement our own AI, our own, not kind of GPT things that you can find over there, but our own, just to provide these recommendations here. And then here you can go to the next step, which is about having exosome therapy, about therapeutic plasma exchange. Maybe you heard about that. Actually, you change your plasma here from here to here on the other side. There's some crazy things that's happening in the field. But at the end, yes, we are coming to end of this decade where we will reverse aging in humans. People believe I'm crazy, but I'm not the only one to be crazy in that field. Yeah.
Basically, you have found a good reason for me to hate you. You have said 31 years old of biological age. Thank you. Now I hate you. And the second thing that I keep is that we will be there in Vevey for the opening, for sure.
Okay, I will invite you with pleasure, yes. Sorry, Ivan, still not working too much on actually growing hair. It will come.
I don't need that. Charisma is more than enough nowadays.
Sorry. I know you're too much. Actually, I can joke with you. I know that. Thank you.
Well, we were joking with you. And actually, last joke or last impertinent question. You didn't call your kid X, did you?
Sorry?
You did not call your kid X.
No.
Like Elon.
But for the story, by the way, xLongevity was funded. I funded back in May 2023. And we put the trademark on the letter X just 2 months before Twitter switched to X.
No.
Well done.
Excellent. Pierre-Edouard,
it's been enlightening. Thank you so much for this.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, my pleasure.
Very much, Pierre-Edouard.
And yes, sure, I will invite you to our inauguration for the Center in Vevey before the one in Geneva. Yeah.
With pleasure. Thank you, Pierre-Edouard, for your time.
Okay.
Thank you so much.